and welcome to your most authoritative evening political show in the country. We are coming to you from our studios in Abelinkwe 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. We are live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. We are also live on YouTube at Pan-African Television. You can leave your comments, questions, suggestions and whatnot on our social media pages. We'll make a time and read all those out for you. You can as well connect with us via our WhatsApp stroke text line on 0260-8465-39, 0260-8465-39. My name is Justice Appiah, and tonight on Hot News we are still looking at the aftermath of the 2020 general elections and matters arising. Today a court in Cape Coast has placed an injunction on the swearing in of the Asin North constituency member of parliament elect. So I mean that's an issue that is actually also trending today. Quite apart from that, the National Democratic Congress, we all know, has decided not to accept the outcome of the results. According to them, the elections were flawed and fraudulent. For that reason, they are not accepting it. They've petitioned the court. There was an issue also at Hogwarts constituency, where a whole circuit court placed an injunction on the constituency and of course so that the member of parliament elect would not be sworn in. But yesterday the Supreme Court has quashed that decision. We'll also be looking at that particular one as well. I've been joined in the studio by Haruna Mohammed, who is a Deputy Director of Communication of the New Patriotic Party, NPP. My brother, good evening.
Good evening, Justice.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right. Also in the studio is Ishak, Audu Ishak, who is also the National Communications Secretary of the People's National Convention. National Communications Secretary of the People's National, Convention. Is it PNC? Yeah. My brother, good evening.
Good evening.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
Well, you know that I was far away in the constituency. We were trying to help my boss to come to Parliament.
Very well.
Even though we couldn't make it.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, I would say better luck next time to my brother, Bernard Ambataila Mona. Bernard Ambataila Mona. Good evening. Good evening. I understand you're still in the north. We are expecting that after everything is settled, you'll be back in Accra. And we have all the conversations there are for us to have. But I'll start with you, Ishak, on the post-election issues. What's your position on the court cases, the demonstrations, not accepting the outcome of the results, describing elections as flawed and fraudulent?
Well, Justice, let me greet the very many viewers of Pan-African TV. Like you indicated, it's been quite a long time that I've appeared
very well
on your program, even though I've been a very good ally of Pan-African TV. But it's all good to be here tonight. Indeed, just as prior to the 2020 elections, I think that everyone who was interested in these elections understood too well the stakes as far as the outcome of the elections was concerned, to the extent that the stakes were very high.
Yeah.
The stakes were very high as a result of a number of reasons. And it's not out of place that in the aftermath of the elections, we are seeing some of these things that we are seeing as regards the refusal of parties to accept the outcome of the elections, the refusal of parties to accept declarations made in terms of the parliamentary elections as well, and the fact that people are trying to employ all kinds of means, legitimate as they may be, to ensure that the right thing is done in their view, in their opinion, and by what they think they have been able to put in place. And so for me, I am not so much bothered or surprised by the fact that we have seen people go on the streets, by the fact that we have seen people go to the courts, trying to ensure that they get the kind of outcome that they anticipate. And I ask the question that Are elections still won at the polling station? Because we're told during the election petition of 2012 that elections were won at the polling station. Today, elections are being won in the courtroom and not at the polling station. Because if you look at what is happening right now, people think that a lot of infringements are taking place as far as the conduct of the election is concerned. And for me, I think that the Electoral Commission has not done a very good job. The Electoral Commission...
You say they've not done a good job. Why do you think that the Electoral Commission hasn't done a good job?
In all of these things that we are talking about, we can narrow it down to a few kind of constituencies. For instance, you can talk about the issues in Hohoi, which has now extended to Buyam. You can talk about the issues in Techiman South. You can talk about the issues in Sefiwi. So, if you look at all of these things, the Electoral Commission is neck deep in as far as the reasons for people being agitated by the outcome of the elections in those constituencies is concerned. And to that extent, you cannot absolve the Electoral Commission of blame, because the Electoral Commission cannot go and conduct an election in a constituency. And then we all know by law that the Electoral Commission is supposed to make available a statement of poll as far as that particular declaration is concerned.
Exactly.
To the extent that the law even asks for the Electoral Commission to publicly paste that statement of poll for the public to be able to know that this is the outcome of the election in this particular constituency. And the Electoral Commission has failed to do some of those things. You understand? With regards to places like Hawaii, it was the Electoral Commission that engaged the residents and assured the residents that they were going to be given the opportunity to exercise their franchise. A day or two to the election, the Electoral Commission comes out and says that per some kind of how do I term it, feasible reasons, it was not possible for the residents in these those places they now call SAL or where is that? They may not be able, they should not, they wouldn't be able to vote in the parliamentary elections, but they would vote in the presidential election. They were disenfranchised. And the people have every right to go to court or to seek redress in court as far as that fundamental right of choosing for themselves representative at the constituency level is concerned. And so that is the reason for which I think that the Electoral Commission led by Madam Jean Mensah let a whole country like Ghana down as far as our democratic credentials, how far we have traveled as a country with regards to elections and all of that are concerned. And that is why I think that it should just not be about NDC and NPP. We should be talking about an Electoral Commission that had given every assurance that they were capable of conducting an incident-free election, a fair, very fair election, a credible election. You understand? At the end of the day, these things are all cropping up. And people think that we should not place the blame at the doorstep of
You
the
mean that the
Commission.
just ended elections conducted by the Electoral Commission wasn't free, fair, and transparent?
How? I've just given you instances where the Electoral Commission decided to do things outside of the law. And they have been challenged. And so you don't need anybody to come and tell you that the Electoral Commission erred, or the Electoral Commission at a point in time did not do what it was supposed to do by law. Because all of these things that are happening, people are seeking remedies within the confines of the law. And people are citing the inadequacies as far as the conduct of the Electoral Commission is concerned. So you cannot say that the Electoral Commission conducted a free, fair, credible election. No. The Electoral Commission didn't get all the attributes right as far as the outcome of this particular election is concerned.
Okay. All right, viewers, you are still watching Hot News right here on Pan African Television with me, Justice Appiah. Kindly share the Facebook Live post for other people to also get opportunity to watch tonight's edition of the program. Once again, we are coming to you live from our studios in Abelempe 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. Now, let me come to you, Haruna.
Justice.
Post-election issues. You know, the NDC has raised a lot of concerns over, the process. They talked about the fact that the process was, fraud and flawed. For that reason, they are not accepting, the outcome of the results. Afterwards, we've seen, some, court cases and all of that, coming up from the just ended election. Your take?
Thank you very much, Justice, for this question. with respect to post-election issues involving our motherland, Ghana. First, I would say very good evening to the cherished viewership.
Okay.
You know, Pan-African TV has a very large viewership in the north.
That's very true.
And I say very good evening to all of them, most especially to my very teeming youth of the party within the rank and file in the northern part of the country. And also to say a congratulatory message to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Vice President, the very intelligent economic guru in our time, the 9th Mayor of the NDC.
Okay.
Yes, Ghana has gone into elections in the 2020 election season, and I'm very happy that we're having a discussion pertaining to the post-elections of this same election that we have gone to. You see, it is very disheartening that the country that we have all sought to live in a very peaceful democracy that is governed by rules and regulations, as well as the constitution that we have all chosen for ourselves, is being disregarded at some point in time where we needed to. The MPP as a political party has always resorted to the rule of law when it comes to matters of this country. Remember, in the 1992 elections, the MPP, upon the presidential elections, decided that no, there was something that was very wrong with the conduct. And that time, presidential elections were conducted before the parliamentary elections. So we decided to boycott the parliamentary elections and went and wrote what we call the stolen verdict. When we wrote the stolen verdict, that particular document that we had written to the people of this country had helped to change the electoral system in this country. And that is how we want a responsible political party to look at and help to shaping the democratic dispensation of this country. And that has been the way.
In other words, are you saying that you're expecting the National Democratic Congress to behave like you behaved in 1992?
Yes, because that is the way. You don't go on the street, you don't go shoot guns, you don't go burn ties, you don't go and cause insecurity and so many things on the street of the country.
Shoot anybody?
Oh, in Tamale. I live in Tamale.
Okay.
I lived in Tamale. Gunshots were there. Ties were burnt. I was very integral part of the elections in the north. In fact, I was the director of IT for the elections in the northern region.
Okay.
And I moved in from electoral commission, one constituency to the other. And on my way to my house, a lot of ties were burnt. Okay? And a lot of mayhem, lot of people. The central mosque in Tamale was shut in because people they thought were members of the MPP had run into those places. So that particular instances are not instances that is very good for our democracy. You look at the leadership of the NDC. Haruna Idrisu is the minority leader, right? He won the same fraudulent election. If Jim Mensah's electoral commission is fraudulent, that is the same elections he won. It means that by his own instance, the NDC's description, he won a fraudulent elections, right? This has been the most peaceful election in this country.
Really?
Yes, Mr. Justice.
Then let me
Mr. Justice, let me tell you. Let me tell you.
How would you describe this election as the most peaceful election when in Techima South people were shot at? About 3 people.
Nobody was shot at straightforward.
Wait a minute. When at is it Ayawa? No, Ablekuma Central, a gentleman was shot dead. When about 8 people have lost their lives in this election.
Justice.
How on earth would anybody describe such an election as a peaceful
Justice. You and I cannot prove that somebody was shot at. Right?
We've seen videos of people being shot
and
at.
You saw people using gun, showing to the person, pointing to the person and shot the person. It's not done. People have been hit by strange bullets.
That cannot be true.
But nobody can prove the point that somebody has shot at another person.
But we can prove, and on authority, that at Ablekuma Central, somebody was directly shot at. The gentleman died.
And that is the case of those who can prove to report that to the appropriate agencies to take that particular gentleman on. That is how law works in this country.
It has been alleged that the person who shot the gentleman happens to be a security person for Lord Comey.
It's been alleged.
Yes.
So the alleged instance must be proved. You get the point? That is the law. We live in a democracy. So if you allege, he who alleges must prove. So in this instance, my brother says that the elections are...
But are you aware that people were shot at Techiman South?
I am not aware somebody was shot.
Are you aware that about 3 people died at Techiman
South? I'm aware that people were hit by bullets. But I'm not aware that police had taken guns, faced at the people, and shot them. I'm not aware of that. I am not.
How did those people die?
They could be hit by string bullets.
Those people die at
it could be by string bullet.
You cannot prove that. You said it could be.
You can't also prove the allegation. And that is it. So in this instance, polling stations are where elections are won. Nothing has changed. Nobody wins elections at the court. Elections are procedural. And when elections are conducted at the polling stations and move from polling station to the collation, the electoral commission's collation center at the constituencies, and if matters are not resolved, it sends to the regional collation centers. If results are declared and you are not satisfied, the laws of this country says you go to court to challenge the validity of the elections. You don't go on the street. And that is the difference between the MPP and the NDC.
The constitution of this country is not against protest, is it?
The constitution of this country is not against protest, but the constitution and the rules of the game that governs elections tells you when you are dissatisfied, you go and challenge the validity of the election.
Protest is one of the legitimate means of people seeking redress.
You want to overturn a verdict. You want to test the validity of an election.
Whichever way that is done,
So insofar that is legitimate, you will testify here that you can't demonstrate on the street to change a validity of an election. The right place to challenge the right place to challenge the validity of any elections in this country is to go to the court.
Now let's take it one after the other.
So if my brother says that elections are now won at the court, is it confirming the fact that the 2012 elections was not won at the polling stations but was won at the Supreme Court?
All right. So briefly, I just want us to take this one after the other. Is protest, is the constitution or the laws of this country against protest?
Nobody says that the constitution is against protest.
I believe that protest is the legitimate means for people to seek redress, isn't it? Now, why would anybody think that for the mere fact that the National Democratic Congress had protested meant that they didn't want peace, or the verdict wouldn't have been changed?
But it is very clear and written on the walls that the NDC are not looking for peace. Even at the verge of going to the Supreme Court, they had said that they would continue to demonstrate.
Which is within their right.
They will continue to demonstrate.
Is it within their right?
And that kind of demonstration they are having is injurious to the security of this country.
Is it within their right to
I am telling you that the kind of demonstration that the NDC has,
which kind of what they do, are you talking about?
Oh, the next time they are doing demonstration, come to Tamale. You see the kind of demonstration they do.
Here in Accra.
Yes, they do demonstrations, they burn ties, they shoot guns, they openly harass people.
How is burning tie violent?
You are burning it on the state road. Do you know the effect on the road? You burn it on adverse roads and you say it's not anything. They burn the ties on the road where road users cannot use that particular road. I use a petrol car. If you burn tie on the road, how do you expect me to use it? And do you think that when you have the right to demonstrate, I don't have the right to use the road? Where your right stops is where somebody's right also continue. The fact that the law says you should demonstrate does not give you the liberty to misbehave. The sanctity and the security of this country is with us.
You think that people exercising their democratic right are misbehaving?
If you are exercising your democratic right, you have a circle. Don't go outside the circle. Don't exercise that particular right that also infringes on the right of other people.
That can be a conversation that we will have. I mean,
and that is exactly why I'm having that conversation.
But are we not painting a picture as though, for the mere fact that they have demonstrated, they're going to...
But it's not a picture. The NDC has told us through their own flag bearer that when it comes to violence, they are the paramount chiefs of violence. They are the paramount chiefs of violence. So if they are demonstrating and the demonstration is in violence nature, and we have seen them, we are there, we seize them day in, day out when they are having demonstrations. And any other act that people think that somebody has done and it is not within the rights or confines of the law can proceed to the law court. And I believe that let us desist from the fact that if a law or the court pronounces a certain judgment, we go and attack the integrity of the judges.
Do you, before I come to you, Shaq, talking of the peaceful nature of the just ended election, do you subscribe to what your party's member of parliament for Bekwai constituency has said when he was asked whether or not he was disappointed in the president for not mentioning, you know, the violence that erupted in the just ended election and the people who have died? He talked about the fact that the president or you, the New Patriotic Party, will not sympathize with criminals. He likened the people who were shot to persons who were engaged in armed robbery operations and they were killed. Do you think that is that a position of your party? You are a deputy communications officer of the party.
I am hearing this news for the first time from you.
We can get it.
Justice, you've asked me a question, so
I want them to play the video if you don't hear it, so that you probably have a fair idea.
You've asked me a question, so I am going to premix my answer on the fact that I have not heard him. And secondly, you said the MP elect, right, or the MP for Bekwai has said so based on what you have heard, and you asking the position of the party
based on the video we have at hand.
And the last time I checked, the one who speaks for the MPP is the general secretary of the party.
Okay.
And we have not issued a communique, and we haven't issued any communication whatsoever to speak on the matter on which you have tabled for discussion. So far as I have not heard him spoke on that particular matter, it is entirely his own view. Much as you are a member of parliament or you are a member of parliament elect, you have your own opinion and you can exercise that particular opinion at any point in time when you so feel that you want to exercise. But this is not a position of the New Patriotic Party. This is the position of his own opinion, if so he had said per the description or per the narrative, per the question you have put.
But it looks as if the statement you made on the peaceful nature of the just ended election isn't too far from what he has said.
I have not heard him.
That's why I asked you that. But let me come to you. I think that you have some, some rebuttals.
Well, Justice, not rebuttals I said, but I think that listening to my brother, I'm amazed, and I thought that we were going to have this conversation rather focusing on a certain perspective that shifts away from the usual partisanship. But I think that my brother attempts as much as possible to exonerate the NPP from or the government from what has happened, even though I, to a very large extent, have not, as it were, tried to indict the NPP as a party or as a government. You can see that I focus so much on the referee in this election, which is the Electoral Commission. But I think that my brother has, in his attempt, has contradicted himself in a number of ways. Now, when the NPP went to court in 2012 to challenge the declaration done then by Madame Charlotte Osei concerning the, was it Charlotte Osei?
Yes.
No, Afarijan, sorry.
When?
2012.
Is it 2012?
2012, it was Afarijan, sorry.
It wasn't Charlotte.
To challenge the declaration by Afarijan. I'm not sure that the NPP MPs who had been elected then folded their arms and said that they were not elected because they were challenging the outcome of that year's election. So it cannot be the same with the NDC today. The fact that the NDC have issues with the conduct of the presidential election does not mean that they have issues with the parliamentary elections across the 275 constituencies. Of course, the NDC has issues with pockets of constituencies. But the case of the NDC, which they have sent to the Supreme Court, is got to do with the presidential declaration.
Okay.
And the fact that they have been elected as members of parliament in the same election in which they are challenging the presidential outcome. It does not bar them from us solidarizing with their flag bearer and the presidential candidate in that election. Of course, get to understand that there's a difference between the presidential and the parliamentary elections.
Okay.
In the presidential elections, for instance, we are aware that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission is the returning officer whose declaration is being challenged. In the parliamentary election, it is not the returning officer, it's the various electoral officers at the district offices. So the two may have been conducted. That is why we say presidential and parliamentary elections.
Okay.
They are not mutual. You understand? And so let us get that right. The NDC MPs elected in 2020 have every right to support the decision of the NDC party to challenge the presidential election declaration in court as they have done. And indeed, it is not for nothing that the law allows for a 21-day period within which, after the declaration, within which a dissatisfied party can go to court. Within that 21-day period, there are a lot of reliefs or remedies available to the dissatisfied party. And protests are legitimately part of some of those reliefs or remedies that the party can use. The party can appeal to the conscience of a number of stakeholders. They have the opportunity to, as it were, appeal to stakeholders who they think, as it were, can contribute to ensuring that they get the kind of justice that they want.
Very well.
So when people get up and they say that you must necessarily just get up and go to court straight away, I think that I cannot side with that particular position. And in any case, my good brother talks about the fact that this is the most credible elections
Very peaceful
in the fourth republic. And I wonder. And he is the same person who is talking about the fact that the people who were killed could have been hit by stray bullets. Let us admit that they were hit by stray bullets. Who shoots guns in a very peaceful election? If an election is very peaceful, would anybody go out there and shoot a gun? To the extent that people can be caught by stray bullets? The fact that people shot guns, the fact that people wielded arms, tells you that you cannot describe that election as peaceful, free, fair, and credible. Nobody would go into a peaceful, fair, credible election holding or wielding guns. And so I think that it is a huge contradiction on the part of my good brother. But in any case, when people say that they should go to court, Justice, this afternoon, we saw, or we have all heard, what happened in the Cape Coast High Court.
Exactly.
Of course, the injunction was granted, and you know that I am not a lawyer. I cannot pretend to be one. Probably, Justice, I don't know my brother's background, but I know that you are a student of the law. Probably, you may have a knowledge of the law that I do not have. But we know that after the granting of the injunction, the dissatisfied party has the right to go to court.
Very well.
To apply for a stay of execution.
Yeah.
And our court usually close at 3 p.m. But the thing was orchestrated and choreographed in such a manner that before the NDC lawyers could say jack to go back to the court registry to even go and file that process, the court had closed, denying them of that opportunity to go and challenge the decision of the High Court to injunct the MP-elect for Asin North. So that tells you that there's something fundamentally wrong with our legal process. You understand? And that could call for the reasons for which people on the other side are continuously yelling and shouting for the dissatisfied parties in these elections to just go to court, because probably they think that the outcome of the court could always be favorable. You understand? And so that is why I asked the question, are elections still won at the polling station? Because if you look at what is happening, Justice, you cannot be happy, and you should not, as it will, condone such a situation where people appear to be manipulating the system in such a manner that they may get some undue advantage as far as our democratization is concerned.
Okay.
As we sit here, we are all aware that a process will have to take place in Parliament today. And both parties, they need numbers in order to push through whatever agenda they may have. And by what happened in Cape Coast today, what it means is that the NDC has been disadvantaged. And while they have been disadvantaged, it is to the undue advantage of the New Patriotic Party. And you know that once this particular process goes through, it would be difficult for it to be reversed, because if they go to listen to the substantive case, and then it appears that after all, the man does not hold the so-called dual citizenship, and he's admitted and sworn into Parliament as a member of Parliament, but it will be of no consequential effect again as far as the election of the Speaker and the Deputy Speakers are concerned.
Yeah.
You understand? And so why are we doing it? Because even if all of these things that are happening, just as I can tell you that, for instance, what is happening in Techiman South, the substantive case has not been listened to. You understand? Because the NDC wanted an injunction to be placed on the gazetting of the MP elect. But they have a substantive case in which they are calling for a recollation of the results. And you know that if that recollation is done, and then the results turn in favor of the NDC, what it means is that the MP elect now may have to vacate Parliament. The NDC can, after all, get the majority in Parliament. But you know that in order for you to impeach the Speaker or the Deputy, any of the Deputy Speakers, you need 3/4 of members of Parliament. Where can the NDC get that? So even if they overturn the declarations done at some of the constituencies, and they even get the majority in Parliament, but they may not get the opportunity to reverse the election of the Speaker and his deputies. And I think that it is sad. That is bad.
Okay.
It may be that people have gone to court. It is the decision of the court. We must respect the decision of the court. But we ought to have a certain kind of self-introspection and get to understand that when we do some of these things, Justice, we have something we call precedent. We may be setting a very bad precedent.
We may be setting a very bad precedent, according to Audu Ishak, National Communications Secretary for PNC. You are still watching Hot News right here on Pan-African Television. You can send in your views, comments, contributions, and whatnot on our social media pages. We are live on Facebook. We'll make a time and read all those out for you. You can share the Facebook post, the live post, as many times as you want, so that other people will get the opportunity to watch the program. You can also send your views, comments, contributions, and all of that on our WhatsApp stroke text line 026084 6539 02608465. So now, Haruna, let me come to you. There are two issues I would want you to deal with. I've had a message from some people in Tamale, and you know that we are widely watched in the 5 northern regions. What they are saying is that there wasn't any shooting or whatsoever in Tamale, as you've mentioned, and that you should tell us or tell the good people of Ghana where exactly those shootings happened in Tamale.
I tell you on authority, the Tamale Central Mosque was shot into. You can pick your cameras, go to Tamale. When you go the first door, the first door on your left before you get to the head of the mosque was shot into.
And you are able to prove that it was NDC?
Yes, I was there. I was in town. I'm a local boy. I don't fear anything. Okay? I'm from Zabzugu. And I know who I am. I'm from Zabzugu.
There was a shooting at Zabzugu too.
No, there wasn't shooting at Zabzugu. It was a lie.
Really?
Yes. There was no shooting at Zabzugu.
Nobody died in Zabzugu in this election.
Who will die in Zabzugu? We are one family. We live in there. Nobody died in Zabzugu. No gunshot. In fact, no gunshot in Zabzugu. No gunshot in Zabzugu. My brother said that there were some contradictions. I laughed. There is no way I will contradict myself.
Okay.
I was just waiting for him to come out with those contradictions. He went ahead to explain about parliamentary and presidential. I am well aware of this fact. I have been into elections for a long time, and I'm part of those that have been able to develop a system to collate. And I am well aware of what parliamentary elections and what presidential elections are. So I had not contradicted myself in any of these matters. And who says that the NDC have no right to demonstrate? Nobody says that. You get the point? But your right to demonstrate has a procedure to demonstrate. Look, go and pick CI 127. The law that
what did the CI say?
The CI 127, when you peruse through everything within the CI, there is nowhere it says that when you are dissatisfied with the elections, go and demonstrate on the street. The Constitution, in its provision, under where you need to seek redress with respect to validity of elections, has not given you the room to go and demonstrate.
The Constitution has also not restricted anybody.
No, I'm saying that with respect to elections, provisions in the Constitution with respect to elections has not prescribed demonstration for addressing validity of elections.
He has also not stopped demonstrations.
And that's what I'm telling you. It has not prescribed. It's a fact.
And it's also not against demonstrations.
It has not prescribed that particular aspect.
But the same Constitution also gives, the same Constitution also gives anybody the right to demonstrate or protest.
And that demonstration, with respect to what the Constitution has prescribed to deal with validity of elections, the option of demonstration and burning of ties is not part of that.
It doesn't mean that nobody can demonstrate or nobody is unable to demonstrate when he or she feels that, I mean, he has been
justice. My brothers
in an election.
My brothers continue to talk about they need justice.
Okay.
That they need your name. Justice.
Well,
justice is not a piece of or a commodity in the market where you can go and prescribe the category or the kind of justice for it to be manufactured for you. Justice is earned. You seek justice. Okay? Everybody wants justice. You cannot be seeking justice and create a state of insecurity. So justice is not a commodity. If the NDC thinks that they have a certain kind of category of justice that they need, we are sorry. Justice is not a commodity.
Have they created a state of insecurity in this country?
Oh, you are here. We have seen, we have watched, and that is it. It's going on there by the same people that have said that they are the people that are the paramount chiefs of justice. Mr. Justice, it will interest you to know that the police, as we sit, has a case against the PC, the parliamentary candidate for Savlugu, where AK-47 was found in his private campaign office. As we sit, the police has a case against him, and you are a media person. You are well aware that AK-47 was found with him. Okay. And there is a case against that particular child that has died in Savlugu. That gunshot came from the NDC. So if my brother says that, granted that strange bullet had hit people, the NDC was all over shooting guns.
All right, so
these are the things that we should look. My brother also says that the NDC MPP have been given an undue advantage. What undue advantage is that?
Okay.
Going to the court to seek redress, going to the court to make your case, going to the court to make sure that you present credible information and data to drive home what you have petitioned or what you are seeking for gives you an undue advantage. You go in to win. And when you go and don't make your case and you go there and make a bad presentation, you would end up by not getting any case at all. This is matters of the law. I am not going to sit down here. That is why I am desisting from going into the substance of these cases, these are cases that are before competent courts of jurisdiction.
Okay.
And they have the right to make judgment and pass judgment. These are the same courts that granted injunction for the whole. This is the same court that granted the various injunctions that the NDC were jubilating. And these are the same courts that are making judgments on some other particular petitions and presentations, and they are running into town. We leave the matter into the hands of the law, and the law will deal with all the cases.
All right, thank you so much. So, information reaching us here at Pan-African Television has said that the National Democratic Congress has occupied the right side of Parliament, meaning the majority side of Parliament. Information reaching us here at Pan-African Television has said that the National Democratic Congress has occupied the right side of Parliament, meaning they have occupied the majority side of Parliament. What we are hearing is that this has resulted in confrontation in Parliament. We'll bring you videos to that appropriately, but let me go through this once again. The National Democratic Congress, we are told, has occupied the right side of Parliament, which means that they have occupied the majority side. That is the breaking currently. We shall update you on whatever may come up after they have occupied the right side of Parliament, which means that they have occupied the majority side of Parliament. Let me come to you for us to wrap up. I think that our time is up. I've been prompted for us to go. Let me also remind you that we'll be bringing you, a comprehensive, coverage on the dissolution of Parliament, and then subsequently, convening of the 8th Parliament, and that is going to be done by Kwame also done so, and Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. With Comrade Chichire Poku. So don't go anywhere. We shall be here with you till morning. We'll bring you every single thing that will be happening in Parliament tonight. Now, you would want to respond to some of the things. Well, our time is less.
Well, I'm not. Just as me, I'm not responding. You know that I will not respond. But I just want to make a few observations. For instance, if we say that this is the most credible election conducted by the EC, you remember that the NDC has held a number of press conferences trying to give reasons for which they think that the Electoral Commission did a shoddy job. And at the last press conference of the NPP by Mr. McMenu, remember that at that particular press conference, the NPP also accused the Electoral Commission of crediting the NDC candidate with votes that he did not deserve.
I'll give you the opportunity.
You have the opportunity.
No, at this point, I would want him to, because he has not said that.
Okay.
The campaign manager has not said that.
What? The NPP never said that your mama was not giving votes he did not deserve.
That Mark Menu did not say that.
Wow. But what did he say? Because I heard that also.
Wow. He said the MPP is prepared to meet the NDC in court squarely.
Because they were also giving some votes.
There was no point in time he said, if anybody has that, let me have the audio.
Wow. All right. Well, it's a matter of my producers getting in that briefly. Unfortunately, our time is almost up, but I think that the audio is there, and we are
not just an audio; it's a video.
Yeah, of course,
right.
Video.
It was a press conference.
He has not mentioned that.
It was a press conference. I watched that press conference. I watched that press conference.
Okay.
And Mr. McMahon,
I was there.
I said I watched that press conference.
Okay.
You can be there, but probably not hear that particular part.
Why wouldn't I hear it?
It's possible.
I'm deputy director of communication.
It is possible. It's possible.
And the press
how long was that statement? That particular portion of his statement. How long was it? It is possible that you could be distracted by something else that it will pass by.
Okay.
I'm happy.
And the script is there.
No, he responded to the media. He responded to the media after they prepared script.
There is no any in his response.
I'll give you the opportunity.
No, I just wanted to correct that point.
You see,
when it is your time, you can correct it. You can dispute it. You can dispute it. And so, if you have an election in which the two major players are both accusing the referee in the election, which is the Electoral Commission, of doing something untoward, you cannot refer to that particular election as being credible. Clearly, you cannot say that that election is credible because the NDC is accusing Mrs. Jane Mensah and the EC of crediting Akufo-Addo and the NPP with votes that they do not deserve. And then the NPP in turn through McMenu also makes a similar accusation of the same issue. Both the victor and the villain are crying wolf. So it cannot be a credible election.
Okay,
and
so,
just like in the case of me saying that it was not a peaceful election, it does not matter if my brother was about the fact that in Savilibu somebody was caught with a gun and all of that. When we talk about a peaceful, it does not matter who holds the gun, whether it was the electoral, whether it was the security services, whether it was NPP, whether it was NDC, TNC, or whatever. Once guns were shot in the course of the election, that election cannot be deemed to have been peaceful. That is the point I'm only making.
Okay, so to settle this matter, this is my joyonline.com. And this is the headline. Mahama did not receive number of votes credited to him, says Mark Menu. The campaign chairman of the New Patriotic Party says one of the party's
I am
objectives...
telling you that. Show the audio.
allow me. So are you saying that the portal has reported a wrong thing?
My Joy Online is not...
Are you discrediting the story on my Joy
I'm
Online?
discrediting that story.
Okay. But I want to read this to our viewers. The campaign chairman of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, says one of the party's objectives heading into the election petition is to prove that the NDC's John Mahama did not obtain the total number of votes he was credited with. Peter McMenu said NPP's legal team, led by the former president of the Greater Accra Ghana Bar Association, Frank Davis, are adequately prepared to prove the party's assertion. We believe and will prove in Supreme Court that even John Mahama did not receive the number of votes that have been credited to him. We are going to show that during the course of the trial, he told Joy News, MFA Appiah, on Wednesday night. Anyway, so if you are discrediting this, yes. I don't know. But can you take us home?
Mark Menu has not said that. He hasn't altered those particular words with respect to the point that figures that is accredited to him. No, he said that we are prepared and lawyers will respond and we would meet them squarely in the court. So if they decide to add that particular aspect to it, Mark Menu is still alive.
Are you saying that Joy News added that to it?
Joy News is not sacrosanct. That when they say something, that is final. No.
But they said he has told one of their
I'm telling you that they are not a house of truth.
But this is something we've all
Mark
listened to.
Menu is alive. You get the point? He's there. Your station can pick.
Are you running away from your own shadow?
Not my own shadow. You see, when we talk about journalism, when we sit in this room and they say that it's raining outside, we don't run commentary on the rain. You simply open your window and check whether it is actually raining. I have told you it's not. Mark Menu is alive. Call him tomorrow. Verify what I am telling you. He will tell you, or he will tell you.
This report has been everywhere. The video has been. Mark Menu has never been responded.
He has responded. People have decided not to publish it. At the same party headquarters, people have decided not to publish that. And for us, we will win our case in court. That is exactly what we're looking out for. And I still maintain this is the most peaceful, the most credible elections. This is the elections that voters who had gone to vote, we don't get so many reports of my name was not there and here and there and those things. There has been so much change in this election. There is so much change in this election. And this election is the most peaceful, the most credible, and the most fair elections in this country. Nobody can challenge that. Nobody can challenge that. People can decide to make.
So you've not heard that people died in this election?
If people died, that doesn't mean that the election is not.
You've not heard that there were gunshots?
If there are gunshots, how many gunshots were there? How many of them? If you are taking granules and then you happen that just one of it is there, so you generalize the statement. It is based on the proportion of the happening. Let us be fair to this electoral commission. Let us be fair to him.
You didn't hear if you're saying
so
that.
So if you hear one gunshot, it means that everything is bad. My brother, we haven't.
Are we supposed to go into an election with guns?
275 constituencies. We have 275 constituencies, and we have over 30,000 polling stations. That is what we're talking about. Even
if there was a single gunshot, are we supposed to go
into
elections with guns?
Bad? No. No, that is not how we are taught. That if there's one single gunshot.
No, I'm asking you. No. Okay, all right. Let's get going.
No.
Okay, all right.
Yes, if there's single gunshot, doesn't mean that the whole election is bad. On a scale, this election is the most peaceful, the most fair and credible elections in this country. And anybody that feels that he is not satisfied with that can easily go to the court. And that is what the NDC have done. And we welcome what they have done. And my brother, you see, if you had a seat in Parliament now, you would have understand what we're talking about.
You have one, eh?
We have.
I say you have one, eh?
Yes, we have won. We have it. I've won in my constituency. Okay. Yeah, you can, just as you know, the role I've played in this election.
Very well.
Yeah, so, and the people that are watching me from Tamale and Afar knows the role Haruna has played in these elections.
Haruna, thank you so much for coming. I'm so grateful. Ishak, thank you so much for coming. I'm so grateful. Now we have the video for the what is happening in Parliament. And as I said earlier, information reaching us here at Pan-African Television has said that the National Democratic Congress has occupied the right side of Parliament, which means that they've occupied the majority side of Parliament. There is a video to that. Let's go and watch the video. But we're out of here. After this, after the video, Kwame Osu-Danso would take over and then take you to Parliament. We are having a comprehensive coverage on the dissolution of Parliament and subsequently convening of the 8th Parliament. We're out of here. I'm so grateful. But let's go and watch the video. I think when we get down there,
Say me a beman kasankasa.
Nichina Minaswa Kasa. Ankasa.
To say that,
we backward and then it's strong enough. I could say, or backward and one which
Mr. Wasimini, with your wap,
hey, I can't yadi near more.
At to Fonko Kulun Ghana Limited, our East Legon, a Champion Junction, from 0244 139 176.
Mr. Q, we are Cuba.
Bukuya. The thing all the pressure to me sister. What song come from? You said the people na ya na sa o yare nko. Be say the when ya jo one. O to ha wu su ni.
Ma nya osanka between me kala.
Ma.
We yare na menya anu aduro. Nti na ma me to nkra bra o se bra no.
E na be bi se fe ni ya gba. Be say wa ma me ye ma hye me.
Ko fichira. Wa ya se na ya na ye o ya me. E na se wo kunu so ba wo na wo dwane dwane. E na makoti e probin kan ye friend no Araba Basin tablets. So wo nim se me de re ya banana. Enunti na nam so amakoto se eduadu abra so je nanom
Araba Basin betima ye wenyina ama me ene mi huri so
wonyem wo ye obata ya wo ma wo banufuo ana akwada wo ni mfie dumienu a wo nka ho
Araba Basin.
And there I see
it's incredible! Bang on target!
Hello, Ghana. I introduce you to the #1 combined harvesters in the whole universe, the World Combined Harvester. World Combined Harvesters are very efficient and drastically reduce post-harvest losses. It's cost-effective with low operating expenses, easy and comfortable to operate. Works well both on wet land as well as dry land. World Combined Harvesters come with automatic gear drive, diesel-powered engines, 1.77 cubic meter grain storage tanks, 2.2 meter cutting width, 360-degree unloading pipe, and a sunshade. World Combined Harvesters are best suited for crops such as rice, corn, wheat, and soybean. To buy or hire a World Combined Harvester, kindly call the sole distributor, CAM Trading and Farms Limited, on 0546 372014 or 0278 223811. I repeat, 0546 372014 or 0278 223811. World Combined Harvesters, your #1 combined harvester in the whole wide world.
Yare bakwa ehaye mema pa, especially ya yenya 40 years and above no efire prostate ehon obetumi nya prostate enlargement anasta prostatitis se wokwa yare sabia na catch us wo PSA level eko higher kaina hu se wo prostate no ehon ya tochema se hu se wo chim ansa na wadwonso wo dwonso na emu apai anaso edu anadwo a wota dwonso a ene kaina hu se wonya prostate disorder. So to me didi ye anasa wata tenete ne wapom anasa wonya daily supplement bia ebetumi aboa ama o prostate no ejina na nan so sambare man chechire we a natural link company a womode pro slav capsules a eboa mbarema prostate true man ana dinner capsules eboa emba efrichire ko obetumi afra mo
Honey, I'm I have a surprise.
No. Yeah, I'm so feeling some yoga.
Hey, I'm maybe I'll tell you. Minipia, obey my way na to a trap. When I'm a bit to my wedding, Mr. Q.
She say me a beman kasankasa.
Nichina minas one kasa. Ankasa.
What is it?
Aye, we back and then it's strong enough. Back up and say, or backward, no one which me.
Mr. Wasimini, with your wap,
hey, I can't yard near more.
At to Fonko Kulun Ghana Limited, our East Legon, a Champion Junction, for 0244 139 176.
Mr. Q, we are Q back.
Do you want a pleasant, sweet aroma in your environment? Venus Air Freshener provides a sweet and fresh odor for your home, school, hotel, hospital, leaving the environment with a nice fresh aroma that lasts longer. It also contains ingredients that fight against insects, cockroach, mosquito, and housefly, and the product is approved by the FDA. For bulk, contact 0555 874437 or 0242 824 952. Venus Air Freshener leaves a long-lasting freshness.
and nothing I decided true man capsules and so at their brand.
I can't think of what's a good deal to me, dear Michi.
At the account, now you're bear man and a pepper.
Hey, True Man capsules. One mama ya bear ma bion.
True Man ye marima drew and mofra woni imfie dun watchi intumi numbi. Sa dwedi enkrato we FDA for hwemu agya tum say she.
Welcome to Ridge Royal Hotel.